I have the distinct pleasure to introduce to you a gentleman that we started conversing about a few months ago. We were talking about petition initiatives, citizens-based petition initiatives, and ran across his name and his group's efforts in a state a little east of here that created an initiative to recall their senators and representatives. And what might shock you is they've had some great success. What will shock you even further is that state is New Jersey. I'll say it again one more time. New Jersey. Bill was a great man. We had a great time. We went out to dinner last night, pledged over some money over to the docks over on the east side, and got to look across the river and say, wow, the Bacon Building is nice. But anyway, Bill has a great career behind him, a great history, a very learned man, and we're going to find out what a wonderful speaker is. So without any further ado, Bill Wilson from the Freedom Consultants.
I normally, when I speak, I don't bring props, but I thought I'd bring one today. And eventually, you'll figure out what that will mean. The folks at the May Day celebration in Washington, D.C. Wanted me to extend their greetings to the brothers and sisters in Ohio today. My wife tells me that it's a very beautiful day, and they're all getting ready to bash the government quite well in Washington, D.C., so that's a good thing. I want to thank you for having me here today. I did turn down an opportunity to speak there in Washington, and I felt like this was a more important place to be, because you have in your hearts and in your actions the nation in the balance. And Ohio has always been a leader in bringing the nation back around to its true roots. And we have been a state of presidents, we've been a state of precedents, and I think that it's time that we make another one here. We need to show this government that they can't trample on our constitutional rights. And I believe you are the people that will do it. Thank you. Bob wanted me to give you a little bit of update on the recall movement. There are 18 states in the United States that have constitutional recall ability. And recall means that in most of these 18 states that any elected government official can be recalled by going through a certain process. In other words, we can interrupt their terms. And so there's a great debate going on across the nation that we have kind of started and engaged about whether or not you can recall a U.S. senator. And it just so happened that about, 6 months ago or so, another friend of mine and I were talking on the phone, and he said, you really ought to research what we could do to remove these people from office and change the course of the direction of the Senate midterm. And so I put some research and prayer to it and found this recall type of thing. And the debate is that in these states where they specifically say you can recall a United States congressman or a United States senator, is it constitutionally legal to do so? And so in the states themselves, they've written this into their constitutions. New Jersey is a great example. And the New Jersey Constitution specifically states that if you collect, I think it's 25% of the voters in the last election, the signatures on a petition, that you can put it on the ballot that the senator can be recalled. And so we started testing that, and the Secretary of State there in New Jersey under the Corzine administration said, no, it's unconstitutional, you can't do that. Our own constitution in the state of New Jersey is unconstitutional. And so something happened, I don't know exactly what, but Corzine was swept out of office and in the process of that, we got some constitutional attorneys together, wrote some briefs, and took it to the next level in the court system there in New Jersey. And they agreed in a unanimous decision at the appellate court that yes, indeed, it was constitutional according to the New Jersey Constitution, but it had never been tested in the United States Constitution. And so now the New Jersey Supreme Court is taking it up because Menendez is, making a big deal about this, and certainly he's calling us. He has an Islamic spokesman who is calling us racist and trying to forward a liberal interpretation of the Bible. That's what they're hitting us with here, and it just doesn't have any credibility because he's just trying to, deflect any discussion about his record at all of voting for unconstitutional things like bailouts and health care. And so we're fighting that fight there, and we're starting to have brush fires, one of Bob's favorite words, brush fires, in other places like North Dakota, Washington, Colorado, Montana, and we're trying to get one started up in Michigan. Wouldn't it be great to get rid of Levin? But today, we're going to talk about the general welfare, the free market system, and your personal freedom. I know you were here to talk about health care, but really, the health care bill is not about health care. And so, it is about some other things. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. Please bear with me. I tend to be a little boring because I'm going to go through some history. And it's the kind of history that we all should know. It's not really being taught anymore in the public school system. And even in my son's Christian school, I don't think it's being taught very well either. But we need to know these things because it's where we came from that allows us the power, I guess, to go forward when we know we're right. And so I want to give you a little bit of background. I'm not a Washington, D.C. suit. I grew up here in Ohio. And I've been, my family has been in Portage County since about 1808. My grandfather, 7 generations ago, fought in the Revolutionary War. His name was David Wilson. He was from Enfield, Connecticut. And after the war, they wanted to compensate him. And so the city or town of Enfield gave him, I think it was like 2 cords of wood each year and whiskey for medicinal purposes. But the Continental Congress also wanted to do something for his service to his country, and so they deeded him some property in what was then the Western Reserve in Portage County, along with some other veterans. And they went and he sent his 2 sons to claim that. And that was where our family farm is. And for the better part of it, it's still in our family today. And I will pass it down to my son at the appropriate time. Our roots are here in Ohio, and it's good to be back in my home state. Whenever my wife and I talk about going home, we're talking about coming back to Ohio. And I think my heart's always been here, even though I've lived in the Washington, D.C. area since Ronald Reagan came into office. We have this property here. It's been historic, and our roots are here. But there's really kind of more to the story. As a young man, I always wondered why I was so justice-oriented, and I took an interest in the government early on and why they were trampling on our freedoms, even back